Well, now it's August. Shouldn't we be done spraying bugs in soybeans, Darren?
We could be, Brian, depending on where we're at in the country. If droughts completely wiped out our beans, but otherwise, if the beans are still alive and they haven't started to senesce yet for getting ready for harvest, yeah, you still need to protect that crop.
Well, let's talk about that drought first. You know, a lot of guys already in early July were ready to just throw in the towel on everything. And don't get me wrong, I mean, the corn yield is made pretty early, and there's certainly some areas around the country, even on our own farm, we're gonna have 20, 25 acres worth of corn. It's gonna make zero, absolute zero. When we've got pure sand, have no rain, that's the way it goes. But soybeans, it's a whole different deal. If you get some late rain, then you could still have fantastic soybeans. So the point is, don't give up on your soybean crop just yet.
Well, the other thing, Brian, that I like to point out is this. All right, if you're in a drought type situation, yeah, you say, oh man, I don't know if I want to throw good money after bad. And I can understand that thinking to some degree, but when you look at what it costs to spray for bugs, maybe $2 an acre, you say, wow, I'm not going to spend another $2 an acre to give my crop a chance. We're talking about a crop that needs every drop of moisture possible, yet it's under stress because there are bugs out there chewing on it. For $2, you can wipe the bugs out. You need like 1/7 of a bushel to pay for that. You know, when we hit the 4th of July and the market started going nuts there for a while, and wow, I mean, you went over $15 soybeans. $2 for insecticide looks pretty cheap, and you know, the market price is still fantastic. Why not take a look at those bugs if your crop is still growing and protected?
All right, let's talk just a little bit about some of these different insects. Soybean aphids is #1 on the list. That's the biggest yield robber in soybeans year after year. And you know, we've seen even late applications, August 15th, August 20th, making good yield gains in soybeans. So our rule on soybean aphids is continue to scout, continue to spray up until the time your beans start to mature, so the time your beans start to turn color. Once you get to that point, then you can pretty much forget it. You're not going to have any yield gain. The aphids are going to be moving off anyway.
But you got to be careful what you choose, Brian, because here's where a lot of guys fall down in this program is they say, okay, I've got some aphids out there. Oh, I guess I'll grab that pyrethroid again, give her another shot and wipe out that next flush of aphids. But all of a sudden, bam, spider mites pop up because that pyrethroid just killed everything else off in the field. And the spider mites are still fine.
Well, that could happen to you. So if you're in an area where you're concerned about spider mites, then you would want to switch over from like a silencer or declare, just a straight pyrethroid, to the next level of pyrethroid that also gets spider mites. That would be capture. Or you could certainly use Lorsban. Lorsban is real good too. That's an organophosphate. It's decent on aphids, quick knockdown, plus it has decent control of spider mites.
All right, well, that's nice, Brian. So you can kill the spider mites, you can kill the aphids, but here come the grasshoppers, and by this time of year, they've got wings now. So they're adult grasshoppers, and they're very difficult to control. That low rate of a pyrethroid isn't going to work anymore. No. You know, how is Lorsban at a low rate, or how is capture going to do? Do you need to jack those rates
with
up?
Any of these products, I'd make sure you're using the full labeled rate if the grasshoppers now have wings. So that basically means they're in the adult stage. They've gone from being the nymphs, now they're up to the adults, and adults are tough to kill. But if you use the full rate of whatever insecticide you're using, you're probably going to get them.
But this has been such an unusual year. You know, you look at all across the country, there have been insects that don't belong in that area that have blown in with winds and this kind of thing. And I've gotten all kinds of calls this year about, hey, I've got some thistle caterpillars. I've got, you know, some strange bugs. I don't even know what they are out there, but they're feeding on my leaves. You know, when you're talking about these insecticides, will it kill all these other unusual bugs that are in the field as well?
Well, those are the calls that I love the most, where guys will say, yeah, I got some bugs in my field. Will silencer kill them? You know, I don't know. Let's figure out what bug we've got first, and then we can go from there. So if you don't know what it is, get an agronomist out, or just take the bug and bring it to an extension agent or something like that. You've got to figure out what the pest is, whether it's a bug, a weed, a disease, whatever it is. We don't know how to control it unless we know first what it is.
Okay, let me give you a couple specific examples then. Bean leaf beetles clipping off pods, and then an even bigger beetle, the Japanese beetle. Can you still kill that one?
Okay, bean leaf beetles, you can use a relatively low rate of just about any pyrethroid, even Lorsban, just going to be fine. With Japanese beetles, now you've got to go to the high rate. Japanese beetles are absolutely more difficult to control than bean leaf beetles. When we start talking about pod clipping, my concern here is the pre-harvest interval. So make sure you know what it is for the insecticide you're using. It might be 21 days, might be 28 days, it might even be 45 days. Well, if you already have pods on and they're fully developed, Are you really going to have to wait 45 days till harvest? Probably not. You're going to be sitting there November 1 saying, boy, you know, my 45 days, it's finally about up. My corn's all harvested. Now I guess I better go get my beans. No, you want to be able to harvest your soybeans on time, so make sure you're picking the right insecticide and the right pre-harvest interval.
Okay, well, one of those unusual bugs is corn rootworm beetles. Now there's lots of different types of corn rootworm beetles, and a lot of people have trouble distinguishing them from bean leaf beetles.
Yeah, but honestly, we don't care. We can kill them all with the pyrethroids or Lorsban. It doesn't matter which type of corn rootworm beetle you have. All I know is if I've got corn rootworm beetles and I'm going to be out there spraying anyway, I'm going to wipe them out with any insecticide I use, and it's a good thing. When you see corn rootworm beetles in your soybean field, they're there for one reason. That's to lay eggs, and next year when you plant corn, you're going to have rootworm larvae there. We don't want that. So if you do see rootworm beetles out there, go ahead and spray them.
Well, fortunately, with most of these insecticides that we're going to control those late season bugs in soybeans, we can also mix something with it to control a late flush of our weed of the week. Can you identify this week's weed?